Today I'm showing you 3 self-massage techniques to unwind tensions in your pelvic floor during pregnancy. If you are pregnant and new to my channel, make sure you subscribe and press the bell button below so you don't miss any of my pelvic floor tips for an empowering birth and postpartum recovery. Keeping your pelvic floor relaxed and free of tension during pregnancy is crucial for an easier pushing stage, because we've seen that before. Your baby will have to go through your pelvic floor during birth, and we want that process to happen smoothly without tearing. So let's see how to self-massage our pelvic floor in order to remove tensions in our pelvic floor and improve the flexibility in preparation for labor. These techniques can be done at any point in pregnancy for as long as they do not cause you pain. You should be able to relax into the massage, and the techniques should feel good, not painful. So the first technique, we're gonna use a foam roller, and we're going to massage between one sits bone to the other, in between the vagina and the anus, so on the perineum area. So you can see that I wrapped a blanket around my foam roller just to make it a little softer, because our pelvic floor is a sensitive area and going on a hard surface can be a little too much sometimes. So you can just tape it so it stays in place. And then what you're gonna do is just straddle your foam roller, go into a deep squat position, and then find that area in between the sits bones, just in between the vagina and the anus. And you're just simply rolling gently from one sits bone to another. You should feel when the bone starts touching the foam roller, and you're just thinking of letting go of the tensions. You don't want to be squeezing your pelvic floor here, but just melting those tissues. Paying attention, is there more tensions on one side or the other? You can even explore tilting your body a little bit forward or go a little bit backward, but what you don't want is to roll right on the bones. So you don't want to roll on the sits bones or on the tailbone, really just focusing on the soft tissues. And you can practice that for a minute or two. Our second technique to massage our pelvic floor will be using 2 massage balls. So I'm using the yoga tune-up therapy balls here, but you can use tennis balls if you have them. Have 2 of them, and you can simply put them in a sock and keep them together as close as possible, then twist and then bring it over top. So this way they will remain together. For the placement of your balls, you want to put them about here. So they will likely not fit in between your sits bones depending on how wide your pelvis is, but you want to put them a little behind and just in front of your tailbone. So that would be about here for me. So find your sits bones, put your balls just behind them, and then you'll end up in that spot right here. Okay, so let's see how that feels. If it feels too sharp right from the get-go and you're like, ooh, this is really intense, you can simply take some weight off, putting your hands, and then gently come back down as you allow your pelvic floor to release and sink into the balls. Now, instead of staying in that static position, which can feel very intense, we can just do mini circles with our upper body, clockwise and counterclockwise, maybe doing a few circles in one direction and then the other. And you will feel pretty quick which side is tighter if you have a tighter side. For me, it's my left side. So when you have a tighter side, you can even just do semicircles on that side to work a little more to balance everything. So you know, you can do that for 2 to 5 minutes, depending what feels good. If this is too intense for you, there are 2 ways that I would recommend trying. Maybe adding a few more layers of socks over top of your balls, or it could be a blanket or something like that to just make it softer, and then try again. So like I said, it shouldn't create pain. It should feel like feel good kind of massage. If that doesn't work, then try sitting on a softer surface. So you see that I'm using a pretty firm seat here, but I could go maybe on my sofa or on my bed, and that would absorb some of the balls, and that would make it a little softer on your perineum. But if those techniques don't work and you're still feeling sharp pain, then I would just move on to the next technique with a soft ball. This option is great for people who have very sensitive pelvic floor and cannot tolerate the other options with the foam roller or the firm massage balls. So I'm gonna use the Gorgeous ball from Yoga Tune Up here because I love how I can inflate it and deflate it to my own preference. And that grippy surface it has also allows me to keep it under my pelvic floor and so it doesn't slip away. But if you happen to have any other soft ball at home, either from your kids or a Pilates ball, that can work as well. So I'm going to inflate my ball to about 75%, just leaving it a bit deflated, like this is perfect. And I'm going to use a yoga block, but if you don't have one, you can definitely use like a big book. You're gonna put it flat on the floor and then put your Gorgeous ball over top. And again, we're gonna go into that deep squat. That feels so nice, honestly. I'm 25 weeks pregnant and I'm thinking of bringing both of these items in my hospital bag because I feel like in labor that would be so nice to just be squatting with that support here and that it doesn't feel like a hard, you know, yoga block under my perineum. It really feels nice and soft. What you can do from here is just roll from side to side onto your sits bones. Because we're using a soft ball here, it doesn't matter if we're going on the bones a little bit because you'll see that it feels very comfortable. So I'm just shifting my body from side to side, allowing my pelvic floor to soften and release. You can do also like little circles with your upper body. So kind of drawing a no with your head in one direction and then the other. If the deep squat position is hard for you to get into because of hips or knees issues, you can definitely do it also on a firm chair. So I'm gonna put my Gorgeous ball, again inflated about 75%. And I recommend a harder chair for this, not a soft chair, because otherwise you might not get as much like release from it. And have your knees nice and wide. And your ball again is on the perineum, so in between the vagina and the anus, in between your sits bones. And again, you can just roll from side to side, just moving your hips back and forth, shifting your weight. You can also do circles like we've discussed before in the deep squat. So 5 in one direction and 5 in the other. And also just sitting on the ball and letting your pelvic floor release and sink into the ball can be also sufficient without even moving around. So if you're someone who's super busy and you want to do some release work through your day and you have a sitting work, then just sit on your ball for a few minutes, a few times a day. And that can be a really easy way to integrate this release work without taking extra time. If you want more actionable tips to prepare your pelvic floor for an empowering birth, make sure you grab my free pelvic floor prenatal book in the description below. I hope this was helpful and thanks for watching.